What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony, and this is our Dragon Con pre-show episode. Dragon Con is 2 days away, and
Two
we're
days.
excited because we are on between the two of us, we're on 50 million pounds.
I,
No,
I I
seriously.
am I am excited. I am scared.
Why are you scared? You do this every week. Is
I
the only difference is we will be in front of live people getting live feedback. But and it's not like this is the first time you've been on a panel.
no, it's not. But
It's just the first
it's
time you've been
different.
on 8 panels.
So many panels, and I have a new profound respect for you and Gary Mitchell, our dear friend from the classic
Sci-fi
American
classics
classic
track.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talked about being on what 30, 40 panels.
I think he was on 24 last year. He told me I need to get my numbers up. So the fact that I'm a little bit more this year, Gary, I'm blaming you for that. So
Yeah. No, I'm blaming you for it. Yeah, I did one last year, which was fun. I really enjoyed it.
yes, and you did a good
And
job.
here we're on 8 this
Yes.
year. So
My job as your friend is to encourage you to put yourself out there more. And you
and
did. And you let me
here
tell
we are.
y'all. So as soon as the Dragon Con app opened up, of course, I'm going on there. I'm trying to see which panels I'm listed for and everything. And Anthony and I are chatting back and forth. And he was like, so how do you figure this out? So when I told him, he was like, and I look at the schedule. I'm like, dude, you're on 8 panels. He was like, what? So I sent him a screenshot of everything that came up with his name. And sure enough, he's on 8 panels. And he was like, wow, I didn't even know I was on.
There were the two that I knew for sure. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure we'll go into these later, but there were the two I knew for sure.
Uh-huh.
The other 6 were a complete surprise.
Wow.
I was just like, wait, what? I did fill out. Remember, we you sent out the interest
We
links
did.
and
Yeah.
whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and we filled all that stuff out. So I'm just gonna say it's been a long road for me. This will be my 22nd Dragon Con.
I'm like,
And
I'm so impressed.
and I've gone from, one day passes, Saturday pass, to 2 day to 5 day now.
It's five
And
days. Five
yes,
days now. It's been like that
I,
since I think what 2019 was when it officially became 5 days. I think it was 2018 or 2019, maybe
yeah,
2019.
officially. Um, but I would have never thought that I would go from being just an attendee to being like a part of Dragon Con.
Well, you
So
should. You're very knowledgeable. You know
no,
the
thank you.
stuff that you're talking
You are too
about.
kind. You
I
are too
know,
kind.
seriously. I mean, that's one of the reasons when I tell you. So Anthony and I have been friends since 2004. We've been podcasting together off and on since like 2007. Matter of
Mhm.
fact, Anthony is one of the people who actually got me into podcasting. And one of the things that we had talked about, even as we were on the other show that we've been on, Sci-Fi Party Line, we talked for years about starting our own podcast, and the timing was just never right. And it's like when I decided to branch out and do a podcast in the midst of COVID and lockdown, Anthony, you were one of the first people on my mind when I put the thing out and said, okay, so I might be looking for some people to do the podcast. And you were like, I might be interested. I'm like, duh. I don't even know why you responded to that.
I don't know. I was like, really, just tell me when and where, and I'm there.
And that's literally what we had to
That's
do
what
because
I
we've
do.
talked about this for years.
Yeah.
We've talked about it for years, and then we worked together. We've worked together since 2004, so we're always in close proximity to each other. So there are times when Anthony gets a break in between what he's doing. He comes to my office next door and we just shoot the breeze for like 15, 20 minutes. And I've told him before that the minute he walks into my office, I just need to start pressing record on my phone and just letting it go, because there are times when we'll just start out with, hey, how you doing? How's work? What's going on? And the conversation always goes into nerd territory. I don't care what it is. I don't even know how we get there sometimes. It always goes into nerd territory. And then because I work in an office full of nerds, both open and underground nerds, my office becomes the hub for everybody conversing about
Yep.
nerd stuff. Because if they hear us talk about Marvel, if we mention Moon Knight or She-Hulk, oh wait, I watched. So it's kind of natural that you should be on a panel because this is what you do anyway.
Yeah, and I was gonna say your office, when people talk about water cooler talk, your office, it's like the water cooler is right there by your desk.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
Mm-hmm.
comes in and starts
It's
talking about it.
imaginary, but it's there.
But it's there.
But
Yeah.
anytime nerd stuff, like literally Monday morning, I will get people, and it doesn't matter if they're people who work in my building. Some of them may work next door with Anthony. We have some that work elsewhere in the district. I work in fine arts, so I work around a lot of artistic people.
Mm-hmm.
People will come into my office to bring orders, and they'll be like, "Hey, so have you watched such and such?" And I'm looking at them like, "Do you know who you're talking to?" Of course, I watched it. Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about it. I mean, it never fails to happen. Never fails to happen. And then the people who don't know that we are geeks, when they come in and they hear us talk, they're like, "Oh, so you know a little something about this." I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
all right, let's
Yeah.
let's get some education
Yeah.
going." But yeah, I mean, you're natural. I like when you told me last year that the panel you were on was the first panel you'd ever done. I really looked at you like, how in the hell did that happen? Or how in the hell did that not happen? Rather, like, how are you just not being on a panel? You've been going here for 21 years.
I think a lot of it has to do, well, some of it also has to do with COVID and how things have changed
Mm-hmm.
as far as stuff being done digitally. Like, remember filling out interest cards or interest pamphlets on paper.
Yeah.
Now you do a Google form
Mm-hmm.
and it gives everyone the information right there. Oh, this is what they're interested in. This is how I can contact them.
Yeah.
It has
Because they don't
become
have to sort
easy.
through it.
Right. It's become easier. So when
Mm-hmm.
someone is like, oh, on the list, there's Debris, a show that I swear me and like 5 other people watched, and they're gonna do a panel on it. Oh, I click check, I check yes,
Okay.
and I'm on the panel for Debris. In
Okay.
the past, you almost would have to become a part of the track to propose a track idea, and then
That's true.
someone on the track will have to be like, well, I don't know if we have time for it. Well, this is easier now. It seems
Mm-hmm.
like it's easier. So
Yeah. And then
I'll give.
also they're not just sticking to like a set group of people. Like
Mhm.
that's something that I've noticed. Like this year, I am doing panels on 2 tracks I've never done panels on before. I'm doing panels with high fantasy, and I'm also doing a panel on the digital media track. I've never done panels on either of those tracks before. And once I put my name in, I was just kind of like, okay, well, I might not, because they may not know who I am. Like the other tracks that I've been on for years. YA Lit is the track that I started at
Mhm.
Dragon Con with, because that was the track that had all of the Harry Potter stuff. And anybody who knew me 10, 15 years ago, that's all I was about, was Harry Potter. So I like the fact that they don't just pigeonhole like, oh, okay, well, we know these 5 people and these are our friends, or these are the people, and we're going to keep them there. I like the fact that they reach out to people and say, hey, let's get people with different viewpoints, or people that
Mhm.
who may have good opinions. I'm sure they also look at you know our credentials in a sense, because they do ask us on questionnaires if we have experience talking about this thing or what our interest is. So I'm sure they kind of look at that information too. But yeah, I like the fact that it's not just, oh, okay, well, you're familiar with this track, so that's where you're going to go, and that's the only place that's going to take you.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. But
Yeah.
let's start talking about some of these panels, because it's so funny looking at the different panels that we're doing. Most of my panels encompass pretty much everything we've talked about on the podcast.
It's
Like,
like someone went through and looked at the Fandom Hybrid podcast list and was like, okay, they talked about that, they talked about that. Okay, Hanako, yeah, Hanako, Marvel stuff, Hanako, okay, Lord of the Rings, Hanako, hmm. Game of Thrones, Hanukkah, yeah,
Yeah,
everything.
and the Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon panel, I didn't even know I had gotten picked for that one until I opened up the app and I saw it on my schedule. I was like, wait, what? I got picked for House of Dragon because there are certain fandoms and certain shows and movies that are kind of like the creme de la creme, if you will, of nerddom. So even though they send out these questionnaires for us to, gauge our interest in a certain thing, like what do we want to talk about, there's not going to be a guarantee that you're going to get every single panel that you applied for, because I can tell you now, I have a notebook in front of me. I applied for I don't know how many panels, because I was like, some of these panels I may not even get. Some of these panels, they may not even look at my name because they may already have in their mind people who they
Mm-hmm.
want to be on this panel. So when I started getting the notifications, like there were a couple of tracks that I knew they were going to put me on something because they have for the last 3, 4, 5, however many years. And then I did a virtual panel for Wheel of Time, the Amazon Prime show, because they were specifically looking for people who watched the show having no background of the books, because they wanted a different take on just the show without any book knowledge. So I signed up to do that. And there were a lot of scheduling conflicts. I think there was supposed to be 6 of us on the panel at first. And then we had to keep rescheduling because it's dead in the middle of summer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people's schedules change, people having to work, people going on vacations, this sort of thing. So then when we finally got a chance to do it, she was like, okay, I'm so sorry. The only open window I have to do it is on such and such day at such and such time, where there were only 2 of us that were available to do it. So it was just the 2 of us and a moderator. And I had a blast doing that. But that was the first thing I had ever done on High Fantasy. And then when they put out the call for panelists on the Facebook page,
Mm-hmm.
well, first of all, the track director, she sent me an email after we recorded the panel, and she was like, hey, I really enjoyed having you on the panel. I would love to have you back to do some other things. And that was kind of, for me, a big deal, because Anthony, you have experience going to panels on that track.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you have said is that there has been a lack of
Diversity.
representation.
Yeah.
So that was surprising to me, but it also made me feel good because I felt like I made a really good impression. And then when they put the call for panelists out, I actually got an email from her with the link saying, hey, I don't know if you saw this. I was like, I just finished it 5 minutes ago. So,
And then you sent it to me. And
yeah.
that
And
was
then I sent it to you because I was like, these are shows that you talk about. Like, one of the things that we talk about, and one of the things that irks Anthony about me, is that I have never had a chance to actually sit down and fully watch the Lord of the Rings films. It just never happens because every time I try, something always interrupts it. I plan on doing it during our fall break. I'm
mm-hmm.
like, I'm just going to sit down and do nothing but watch Lord of the Rings because there's a TV series that's coming out later on this week. I've got to do the movies. I've got to do, well, you guys said I don't really need to do The Hobbit, but because I am who I am and it's part of that group, I have to do it. But this
I
is
say,
stuff that you talk
I don't,
about.
side note, I say you don't have to, but you should do
Yes.
a Hobbit.
Okay.
So
Who was it that said I didn't need to? Was it Lori or was it?
Lori.
Okay. Okay. So that was Lori. But yeah, so it kind of makes sense to me that you should be on that track,
Mm-hmm.
or like I said, that you should be talking about this stuff because you kind of helped get me into this. So
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
excited.
glad that I did do the questionnaire, because the high fantasy track, which used to be multiple tracks,
Mm-hmm.
Tolkien verse, um, the Wheel of Time track, that's where I spent my time
Mm-hmm.
in those tracks. Because that is sort of what I like. That is I told you before that, you would think my fandom was Star Trek, Star Wars. It's actually Lord of the Rings,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and um Eddings and Robert Jordan, all that stuff. That's what I like a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I know a lot about that stuff. So those are the tracks I spent a lot of time in. And it used to be frustrating when I was trying to get into panels or whatever and couldn't. So this is sort of a big deal for me to be on 3 high fantasy panels.
Really? Okay, I
With,
didn't realize it was three.
yeah, I
Okay.
think it's 3, but we'll go. Are we planning on going into detail
We can
about some of
start
these?
that right now. So
All
what
right, you go
three
ahead.
tracks are you
Oh,
doing
what
with,
3?
yeah, what are you doing for high fantasy?
Friday at 1 have a game of spinoffs, which is HBO's reportedly doing the Game of Thrones spinoffs, about 9 of them, and we're going to talk about the possibility of those coming to fruition.
So I'm guessing that you have to have at least a little bit of book knowledge to talk about those, because the spinoffs are coming from canon. I don't think they're doing
Mm-hmm.
any original stories that I know
They're
of,
they're
except for
they're
maybe
gonna
Jon Snow.
yes. That's the
Okay.
only one. I think that's the only one that's going to be original. The other ones are based on stories that we either heard about or were mentioned or we
Okay.
know about.
Okay.
Um, but we kind of know that they're coming. And some of them, like I think there's 2 or 3 animated series that's in the works, and then there's like a stage play that's in the works. They count those as spinoffs.
I heard something about a stage play and I thought that I was mistaken in hearing something about a
No, you
stage
were
play. I
no,
was
you were
like,
not.
they can't be there. So they're really going to do a stage play for Game of
That
Thrones,
that that
supposedly.
is that's supposedly, yeah.
Okay.
Also, they have filmed a pilot for another spinoff,
I was just about to
which
mention
they
that.
shelved.
I was just about to mention that because I'm mad that they shelved that. They filmed a pilot that cost $30 million to make,
Mm-hmm.
had Jamie fucking Campbell Bower in it. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all like realize, people who know me, they realize I stand hard for that man. I have been a fan of his for years. I'm so glad that he is like everywhere now. People are
Mm-hmm.
loving him, but y'all motherfuckers are late. Y'all are late.
You've been
Y'all
talking
are
about
late.
him for years.
For
Yeah,
years.
you've been talking about him for years.
For years. And he was supposed to be in this spinoff, and I was so excited, and then they shelved it, and I was so pissed off. And I was actually going to attend your panel so that I could talk about the fact that I'm pissed off about that, but I can't because I'm going to be on a panel at the same time. I think that's the only bad thing about us being on so many panels collectively, because most of our panels are at the same time. So it's not like I can go and support you and you can go support me, because we're on panels at the same time.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
And a bad thing, but it's
Yeah,
also a good thing.
but it's mostly a good thing because we're putting ourselves out there. We're putting the podcast out there. That shows that even though as a podcast we do talk about certain shows and certain things, it does show that there's more to us than what you hear from us on the podcast. Of course, if I hit the lotto, then we will be doing this every day and be talking about everything under the sun. But unfortunately, we both have to work regular day jobs, and we can't do this full time because it is an all encompassing thing. So yeah, but what time is that panel on Friday?
That one is Friday at 1:00.
Oh, okay. So yep, that I will be on a YA adaptations panel at that time. So we did a panel last year about Shadow and Bone, and that is one of the shows that we cover here on the podcast. And of course, that started out from a book series, which I finally read the first 3 books last year before Dragon Con because I participated in a panel for that. But there's so many other YA adaptations that are coming out. And so we're going to talk about some of those, like the prequel to the Hunger Games is coming out. Shadow and Bone is filming a season 2 that is coming out. There are several others. Vampire Academy has a TV show that's coming out on, I think it's Paramount Plus. That's coming out on. So we're going to sit there and talk about those and talk about our dream adaptations that we want. And I'm gonna voice my opinion on one that they actually made a film for, but it was one of those where they screwed up the potential for future movies. I'm not talking about City of Bone. Everybody knows how I feel about City of Bone. Everybody knows how I feel about that. I still love that movie. I still think it was better than Shadowhunters TV show. I say that very openly and without shame. I still think Lily Collins and Jamie Campbell Bower were the perfect Clary and Jace. I will die on that hill, but we won't talk about that because they screwed it up the way they did the reveal about Valentine. And anyway, we're not gonna go
But
there.
that's not the show you're talking about.
No,
Okay.
I'm actually talking about the film Beautiful Creatures that came out back
Oh.
in I want to say it was like the late 2000s, maybe early 2010s. And
Mhm.
it was based on the Catch the Chronicles series. And it's a book series that I absolutely loved. I was so excited when they did when they were talking about the movie, they released the trailer. I mean, Emmy Rossum was in this. Alden, I cannot pronounce his last name, but the guy who was in the Solo movie, I
Okay.
can't. Yeah, he
Yeah.
he was in it as one of the leads, and just looking at the trailer, it looked great. I was like, "You got Jeremy Irons in this movie.
Mhm.
What can go wrong?" A lot
A
went
lot.
wrong with this movie. I mean, Kat is one of my best friends, and we went to go see this movie, and we were so excited. And we looked at the film, and when it stopped, we sat in the seats at the movie theater. We both turned to each other. And we were like, "What the fuck was that?" And I'm so mad that they've never approached it again and thought about fixing it and bringing it to the TV screen. So that's going to be my little thing, my dream YA adaptation, because y'all need to fix that shit. Y'all need to fix it.
Somebody
It
needs to fix
was
it.
a great story. They need to fix
Uh,
it. They need to fix it. So anyway, what's the second panel you have on high fantasy?
um, from Amaro to Wakanda: The History of Black Fantasy.
You know what? I wanted
Now,
to go to that one too, and I can't because I'm on a panel at that time.
I am a little bit concerned about being on this panel because I know of a couple of people. Well, one of them, Milton Davis, who's on the
Mm-hmm.
panel.
Mm-hmm.
He's huge to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he had a convention, the State of Black Sci-Fi Fantasy. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, that was
He
here a few years ago, right?
Yes, I went to
Okay.
that, and
Okay.
that was very fun. I learned a lot about Black fantasy and Afrofuturism and all that stuff
Okay.
during that. That was like a two, or was it? I think it was 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was two, but I went to that, and it was a whole lot of fun. But and I've gone to his panels at DragonCon before. He's very knowledgeable,
Mm-hmm.
well respected writer, all that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be sort of a big deal for me to be on up there with him. So we'll
Okay.
see how that goes. I'm looking
Don't,
forward to it, but
don't be
also
intimidated.
a little bit, maybe a little bit.
I mean, I get it. I get it. But I mean
Yeah.
that's the best time for you to like fanboy out. Show what you know, because again, you're very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. So and we only get to see a snippet of it on the podcast because we mostly cover fantasy stuff and not really more of the sci-fi stuff. But
Mm-hmm. I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be an interesting time. This is the part that you didn't really talk to me about as far as being on panels, the amount of research and prep that you have to do. And this is freaking ridiculous.
so let me
I have
tell
to
you.
watch all these shows again. Like I haven't finished Raising Dion. I'll talk about this on the Raising Dion panel. Uh,
So isn't it
yeah,
crazy how much you realize you forgot when you go back to
yes,
rewatch? I'm
yes.
learning that now because I'm rewatching Supernatural season 9 because my first panel is on Thursday. It's called Supernatural Showdown. And basically what we're doing is we take they've divided it into the
Mhm.
5 episode 5 season arcs. So last year we did seasons 1 through 5, and each panelist was assigned or had to pick a season. They had to talk about the season and convince the audience as to why the season they chose was the best season of the 5 that they chose. So I had season 5 last year. We only get 5 minutes to defend. It was so much fun. And then what they do is at the end of everyone's, once everyone has presented their case, they go to the audience and they have the audience vote who made the best presentation and whose season was the best based on what they said. So I won, of course.
Of course.
I'm gonna claim those bragging rights. So this year I have season 9. And I was like, okay, I think I remember season 9. And I started prep and I was like, oh my God, I haven't watched these episodes in like years. Mm-hmm. And half of this stuff, I was like, I don't remember that. And then once it happens, I'm like, oh, I do remember that. The amount of prep, because you're sitting there, you're trying to watch it and you're trying to enjoy it. But again, because you're on a panel and you have specific talking points for this, you're trying to take notes too. And it's the most aggravating and most time consuming thing because I just want to sit here and just watch the whole season. But even with that, I can't do that because I work. I have people in my house that I have to feed. I myself have to eat. And then because Dragon Con is coming up and my light bill for the past 3 months has decided to be $400 a month, I've had to go and Uber some so I can pay my bills and still have money to spend at Dragon Con. Where does the time come? I'm in school.
I know. I don't know. And then you have roadblocks. Like I'm on the debris panel. Debris is not available pretty much anywhere to watch. And I think I made it up to maybe episode 7 or 8 before I like stopped.
Okay.
But I don't even remember most of it. So I have to go back. And Michelle said it was available on YouTube if you subscribe to something. I'm gonna see. If not, I'm gonna
YouTube Premium. They have a 30-day free trial.
All right, that sounds good to me.
There you go.
And I'll see if it's on there. And between trying to watch that, I just finished Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol. I'm on the panel for that. Okay, well, all right.
So what time is your Wakanda panel?
That panel is, hold on, let me bring this closer so I can see.
I was about to say, people are looking at this video and they're like, Hanako, you have glasses on. Yes, because I can't see shit when I'm trying to read.
Can't see anything. Oh crap. It is Saturday at 4.
What am I doing Saturday at 4? I am doing the end of an era, a Legacies fan panel. So
Legacies. Fun.
Vampire Diaries universe.
Yeah.
Which I am a huge fan of. Legacies is a bit of a mixed bag for me because it's the show that talks about or is centered around Hope Michelson, Klaus Michelson's daughter.
Klaus, I remember Klaus.
Klaus is like one of my favorite characters, period. Just even when he's like ridiculously fucking evil, he's still one of my favorite characters.
I just remember feeling like he was like a more refined version of Spike.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
That's how that.
Or tortured too, I think.
Before I abandoned the show.
Whatever. Okay, so we won't go into that. But yeah, so anyway, Legacies ended this year after 4 seasons. And I have to admit, I struggled with this show. I was all in the first couple of seasons, or rather, I should say the first season I was all in. Second season, it started kind of getting a little iffy. Lori and I started covering it here on the podcast. We started, I think, covering season 3 because the podcast didn't start until September 2020. We got maybe 4 episodes in, and then both of us were like, we can't do it. It was just, there was so much there that was just kind of stalling, and there were things that were happening over and over again. It just got really tiring. So I stopped watching it, and then once I found out, well, I had planned on rewatching it or getting caught up at the beginning of this season, but with the way streaming works and stuff like that, especially with CW shows, they only give you 5 shows at a time to stream. So if you miss an episode and you go too far in, you're gonna have to wait until they release it, or you're gonna have to pay for it on Amazon. And I was like, I'm not paying for this show. I don't even know if I want to pay to see this episode. So I'll just wait. And then we found out it was being canceled. And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead, finish watching it. I enjoyed the 4th season a little bit more than I did season 3 for various reasons, but overall, I feel like they probably made a good call canceling it or ending the show. If they had done some other things that they did, like in the later part of season 4, if they had done that early, I would have been like, okay, yeah, y'all can do it for another season. But yeah, so we're gonna go in there and talk about that. And
There's going to be a lot of sad faces in that.
well, I mean, there will be because if you think about it, the Vampire Diaries universe has been in existence on TV since '08,
a
I
long
believe.
time. Yeah.
It's been on there for a long time. I mean,
Maybe
Vampire
before
Diaries was,
that.
huh?
Maybe before that.
No, because I think Vampire Diaries came out right after Twilight debuted.
Okay. Because I
So
thought, I don't remember Bailey being born and watching um Vampire
Vampire
Diaries.
Diaries, yeah, but
So
Vampire Diaries, it
it's
went
been
on
a
for
while.
8 seasons.
Wow.
The originals, the first spinoff, went on for
Mm-hmm.
5 seasons, and then this one went on for 4. There's been talk that this is not the end of Vampire Diaries universe, that there may be some other things coming up, but I just feel like this show had so much potential. And then the actress Danielle Rose Russell, who plays Hope Michelson, she was so good in the role. Even when we met her as a younger actress on the originals, just watching her interact with the Michelson family was what made me say, okay, yes, I'm on board for this show. But I'll go into more detail about it at the panel. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was sad that the show was ending, but at the same time I was kind of relieved because I felt like I don't want it to feel like a lot of people feel about the end of Vampire Diaries. People are like, yeah, that show should have ended years ago. There was still some enjoyable things about both shows, but towards the end, it was kind of like, yeah, you guys need to kind of let this go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
The
What you
the
got next?
third and final high fantasy panel I have is another Game of Thrones panel, the Great Tourney at Harrenhal, which is basically a discussion about, you know, Rhaegar and Lyanna and all the stuff that happened at that tournament, how
Oh,
it
okay.
set in motion a series of unfortunate events.
Wrong
You know,
series.
because we talked about this the other day, how Littlefinger, Peter Baelish, set events in motion in Game of Thrones, but you
Mm-hmm.
can actually trace it even further back to Rhaegar, giving Lyanna the whatever, the blue roses or whatever, that made everybody gasp because he was already married and he didn't give them to his wife.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I've heard references to that because I haven't read. Um, I've only read the first book
Mm-hmm.
because once the show started and I realized that he was still writing books, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait to read the books until after the show is ended because I know at some point the story started to really diverge. And I
Yeah,
just, now that he's still 10 years later, still writing that same book that I was waiting for, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I'm just
just
going to
gonna
wait.
wait.
Yeah.
So just real quick, the great tourney at Harrenhal, the king did not go, but Rhaegar went, and Rhaegar won the tournament, and he got to crown the most beautiful woman there, and he didn't crown his wife; he gave it to Lyanna
Oh,
Stark. and that's where their romance began. There
Oh,
were other things that happened at the tournament. Um, I, I can't think of, my head is so full of stuff. Like there were some things that happened between, like maybe Liana was dressed up as a knight who saved one of Eddard's friends or one of the Stark friends. Anyway,
oh, okay.
long story short, there's a lot of things that happen in the background.
Okay.
But the main thing is all that stuff that led up to Robert's rebellion.
Mm.
Because the thing behind the scenes was actually the lords were there because the king was not there. They were going to talk to Rhaegar and try to get him to set his father aside because they all knew he was crazy.
Oh, yes, the Mad King. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
But Rhaegar threw a wrench in the situation with the whole Lyanna Stark situation.
They were like, "Oh, we got bigger fish to fry." Like you about to start a war.
Right. And
Okay.
that wasn't the war they wanted to start. They
Uh,
wanted to, they wanted to kind of do it sort of peacefully and kind of just get him on their side and it would be easier to depose um King
Mad
Aerys, but
King Eris. Okay.
that's not what happened. I don't know, he was just smitten by the Stark girl and she was smitten by him and the next thing you know, Jon Snow. So there's that.
Which went
So
never.
we're gonna discuss that and all the things that occurred just from there, the seeds that were planted during that time, literally. Why do I feel like I just channel Mike on that one?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
since we're on the Game of Thrones theme, because you've already mentioned two panels that you're doing for Game of Thrones, I'll go ahead and talk about the one I'm doing. So I am doing House of the Dragon. Yay, I'm so excited. Because at this point we've had two episodes of House of Dragon premiere. The third one will premiere while we're at Dragon Con, no less. But that's okay. We have two episodes, and we've actually already recorded our episodes. We've posted those so you can hear our more detailed thoughts about that show there. But we've both talked about the fact that when this show premiered, it gave us the same sense of excitement as the main Game of Thrones show did when it first premiered. And that show was so iconic, regardless of how you feel about how it ended. The show is like a cultural phenomenon. There's no
Mhm.
denying that. House of the Dragon, I feel, is poised to be as great, if not greater. And we already know how that story ends, so it's not like they can give us some bullshit ending
Right.
and put everybody in the right. We already know how the story ends, you know. And I feel like just even in the two episodes we've gotten so far, they're doing a very, very clever job of telling that story. So when I tell you, when I saw that I was on that panel, because like I said, that was a panel I didn't even know I'd gotten picked for. I
Mhm.
think when she sent me the information for the panels, she accidentally left that one off. So I found
Mhm.
out about it when I was in the DragonCon app. And when I say I was so excited, I was like, I get to talk about Game of Thrones. Yay. Because I haven't done a Game of Thrones panel since 2015, maybe
Oh wow.
2014, 2015. It's been a while.
I think Michelle and I went to that panel.
Probably so.
I think we did.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like so excited. I get to talk about House of Dragon. But again, it sucks because we're both on panels at those times. So I can't see any of your Game of Thrones panels because the tourney at Harrenhal, that one is when.
It's 5:30 on Saturday.
But let me look at my
But I
schedule.
know I can't go to you. I would go to your House of Dragon panel, but I can't because when is your House of Dragon panel?
Mine is Sunday at 5:30.
I am on a foundation panel. There's a book, The Foundation, and they made a TV show adaptation called Foundation.
Okay. I don't
It
think I've
was
heard of
on
that one.
Apple. It was on
Oh,
Apple.
that would be
Right,
why,
yeah,
because I don't have Apple TV.
yeah, Apple TV. So I'm on that panel, and that was Sunday at 5:30.
So what is Foundation about?
You should hear Michelle sigh as well.
Is it that bad?
No, 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 no. It's actually a really good. It's a good show.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't read the books.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think I'm going to be able to read a book before Sunday.
No.
I
You're
may
gonna be
try.
quite busy after tomorrow.
I may try.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is. It's hard to say, but it is a spanning sci-fi epic.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Okay.
Um,
Something along the lines of like a Dune or so,
it like Dune,
okay.
but not as, I don't want to say as archaic, but basically this guy, there's this, imagine an empire that's been around for 10,000 years.
Okay.
Um the person that put the empire in place, the emperor, he has been cloned. All these hundred tens thousands of years or whatever.
Okay.
And there's a guy, this mathematician, he predicts that in a certain amount of time, 1,000 years or so, the empire is going to fail and plunge the entire galaxy into the dark ages.
Isn't that kind of sort of the premise of Dune? Similar?
We're not going to go there. So
Okay. I was just asking. Okay.
the
Okay.
empire is going to fall apart
Okay.
due to all these different things. Like there's a new religion that's rising up, and there are
Okay.
people who are not happy that the emperor is continuously being cloned. Because there's three at the same time. There's dawn, dusk, and I forgot what the middle one was. But
Okay.
one is the toddler, not a toddler, but like a kid. Let's say one like a teenager,
Okay.
and
So
then like
they're different
the
ages.
20s,
It's
and
not
yeah,
like okay.
yeah,
Okay.
because they teach each other. Like they teach each other
Oh, okay. Okay.
and they also discuss the politics of the time, and make the decisions or whatever. There are
So
people
it's
that are
like three
happy.
generations, but they're all the same person.
Yes, and they've been doing this for 10,000 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this mathematician predicts that it's all going to fall apart, and he comes up with an idea to kind of save it. Like it's inevitable, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen. So he comes up with this thing about dealing with history, and they're going to store all of our history together in one place, the foundation. So when everything falls apart, we won't have to start from zero.
So it's Dune meets Titan AE.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
There you go.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
There
All
you go.
right. Huh, I might have to check that one out.
You
I don't
can't.
know. I
Well,
don't know when
the
I
show.
have the time, but yeah.
The show has some really good actors, and oh my god, I can't think of his name. Um, he was Professor Moriarty in Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, I can't remember what is his
Oh,
name.
okay. Yes. And yes, I'm having a brain fart too, but I know who you're talking
What
about.
is his name? I'm seeing all the things he's in. He was in the Chernobyl TV show that was on
Mm-hmm.
HBO. Yeah, he's the mathematician. He's really good in it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, I like the show. I did. I like the concepts, and it's pretty good. I had heard of the book before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is an odd story, but my father's best friend was into science fiction.
Okay.
Um, and he had all these books like Robert Heinlein, Isaac Asimov, and I remember seeing the Foundation books, but I was so busy trying to read, all the other fantasy that I was reading. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have time to read the sci-fi novels. I
Right.
didn't get to those until later. I never made it to the Foundation
Okay.
books. So
Okay.
that's why I was excited about the show,
Okay.
because I'd always wanted to read the books. So,
Now is the show still on?
well, Apple they never really announced cancellations.
Yes, I know. That's one of the reasons why I don't fuck with Apple in that way. So yeah. So it might and it might not.
Because if a show will drop and it might, yeah, you won't know until it airs or it doesn't air.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
so
Okay.
we'll see if it comes back. I hope it does because I thought it was really good.
Okay. Okay.
And that track is, I think that's a sci-fi, the American sci-fi and fantasy track.
Oh, okay. Yep,
Is what
I'm
most of my other ones are.
same too. And I just realized I haven't said what tracks are what for mine, but there is a Dragon Con app that you can go to if you are interested in finding our panels. You can just click on the icon that says attendees or actually speakers, and you can put in our names. For me, it'll be easier to put in my name, Hanako, because there are no other people named Hanako there. You can put Anthony's last name in Liggins, and it will
There are
pull up
no
our
other leggings there.
exactly. So well, Michelle, the person that you live with, to whom you
Well,
related by marriage,
yes, but
yeah,
she
but she's
won't be
not a
on the
speaker. She's an
panel.
attendee.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can go into the app and pull up any of these panels to find descriptions. You can find the locations and times and what tracks they are on. And then you can click on that track to find out what other panels are covered by that track. That's the
So
easiest way to do it.
yeah, that was the way I did it.
That was how you
That's how
found
I
out.
found out.
Oh, excuse me, that was how I found out that you were on so many panels.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the first panel that I knew that I was on was the Lost Symbol fan panel, which if you are a fan of Dan Brown, he wrote the Da Vinci Code,
Yeah.
Inferno, and the Lost Symbol was one of another book. They made a TV show about it.
Okay. Is that the one that had Tom Hanks in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Professor Robert Langdon.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Angels and Demons was the second movie. Inferno was the third movie.
Okay.
Lost Symbol was going to be a fourth movie. Then they decided, oh no, we wanted to be a prequel. And then that kind of fell apart. So then they decided to make a TV show prequel, even though Lost Symbol came late. It was weird.
Okay.
But unfortunately, Lost Symbol was canceled after the first season. So we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Robert Langdon is one of my favorite literary characters.
Okay.
Because he's so quirky and different. He's a puzzle solver, and we like those. I like
Okay.
those guys, the South Pole.
Okay. When is that
Next one,
panel?
that panel is Saturday at 5:30. No, Sunday at 10 in the morning. Sunday 10 a.m.
Oh, I can't go to that one either because I'm doing a panel. This panel just got added to my schedule. So last few years I've been on the Outlander panel. And this year I wasn't because the alternate historical fiction track, they combined some of their panels with Brit Track, and Outlander was one of those panels. So I think Brit Track is kind of over the show panel, which I'm bummed about. But and they only needed like a limited number of people for the book panel because they're taking people from American history and Brit Track.
So did they get rid of the alt history track?
I
Or
don't know. I don't think so. I think it just certain shows, because they're technically British shows, I think they just kind of merged them. I'm not sure why.
that's probably, they usually do that because of either space or attendance.
It might, you know what? It could be attendance because I will say, and Michelle can back me up on this, the last few years, the Outlander panels, they have needed more space. They've had us in smaller rooms, and there's always a standing room for Outlander, which I've always said, I was like, I don't understand why they don't have more space or a bigger room. So I guess this year we may be getting a bigger room. That one, yeah, that was in Sheraton. So this
It's different
year,
because alt history is such a small niche thing, because I've
yes.
gone to some of their panels. it can be a few people in a small room.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do Outlander, you're going to get a lot of people. So it probably helps them to pair with Brick Track because Brick Track, they have larger rooms
Yes.
over there.
So I think
So
that's what they're doing. And
probably what they're doing.
the person who is usually the moderator, I had reached out to her earlier this summer to see if there was space on the panel, and I never heard back. Apparently, because she does not check Facebook Messenger a lot, which a lot of people don't. She messaged me yesterday.
Michelle's laughing because
Why? Oh, because she's
she
one of those
doesn't.
people that
She's one
doesn't
of
check
those people.
Facebook Messenger a lot. Yeah, so she messaged me yesterday and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I missed your message. I'm just not seeing it, but it's probably Providence that I'm seeing it now because as it so happens, I injured myself and won't be able to come to Dragon Con. So we need somebody to fill that slot on the panel." So I was like, okay, cool. So she submitted my name and the person got back to me and they were like, yeah, so we're going to put you on the panel. We also need you to take over her moderator duties for the book panel. And I was like, wait, hold up. I'm not caught up on the books. I stopped kind of like halfway in between books 6, 7,
Mm-hmm.
because the show was starting to get to that point and I didn't really want to spoil myself too much. So I haven't read the books. I know some of the things that happens, but I was like, is this going to be a problem? She was like, no. She said you can probably Google some questions to ask. She said, it will be spoilery, but I was like, oh, I don't care about the spoilers. I just want to make sure that it's okay because I can talk my way through the panel. That's not going to be a problem. And then it's with the Outlander panels, it's a lot of audience participation. There's a lot of like you have your panelists and they give their views, but there is a lot of audience participation. So I'm not worried about that part. And then the moderator, Crystal, she usually has a very well thought out, well written outline that she uses for the panels. So she's going to let me borrow her outline so we can get through the panel. But I'm excited because that's the first time I'm ever moderating a panel at Dragon Con. I've moderated panels at other smaller conventions, but this will be my first at Dragon Con. And I'm excited. And it's
I'm excited too,
Outlander. And it's Outlander. So I'm sorry. I know you have a
but I
panel at
can't
that.
go.
I know you have a panel at that time, but I will be stealing your wife because she will be in my audience for that panel.
She will be.
So,
I know she will be.
so I'm
She's
so
already
sorry.
told me.
I'm so sorry. I'm so
it's,
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, 10 o'clock on a Sunday though.
Yeah. And but Bailey's going to be with us. It'll be her first time at Dragon Con. She's
Oh, yay.
14 and she's going to come on Sunday.
Okay.
And one of our friends, her daughter's coming too. And
Okay.
she's 12, I think. She's 2 years behind Bailey. This
Okay.
will be her first time too.
Oh, that'll be
So they
fun.
may both be in that panel. So yeah, okay. Michelle is saying they will be in there because Michelle's not going to miss that panel.
Right. Right. Okay. So we'll just have to put that warning out at the beginning that we will be talking. I mean, Michelle has watched the show. We talk about Outlander on the
Yeah.
podcast. So
And
she
Bailey
knows
has
that there's
walked in
some.
a few times on the show
Oh,
too. So
okay. Yeah. I'm not
it's
worried
fine.
about Bailey so much as the 12-year-old, but I mean, if you're coming to Dragon Con, you're liable to see and hear some stuff that
Even on a Sunday morning.
even on a Sunday morning,
Even on a Sunday.
they do keep it family friendly, but you may hear a couple of choice phrases here and there. And of course, if we're talking about TV shows and films, there are some grown up themes in a lot of what we watch. So yeah.
But you know how some of those people roll at Dragon Con, they will have not gone to sleep and that Saturday night rolls right on into Sunday morning.
I wish I had that kind of energy. I cannot do it.
We don't have
So
that energy no more.
no,
That
we
we don't
just
have that.
we
Not
don't.
anymore. The next one I have is resetting reality, a debris fan panel.
Okay, so you've been talking about Debris forever. Like
I
that was
talked
one of the
about it
shows
before we
that
even when we began the podcast. I had talked about debris.
I know that's one of the shows that we talked about watching and covering, and then all this other stuff just started coming up, and it just kind of got left in the limbo.
It
So
did. It did. I like I said, I think I was one of a handful of people watching the show. I didn't feel bad because I did that with Friends. Because when Friends first started, I was one of the few people watching Friends that I
Okay.
knew. And
Right.
I was one that got Cat from Sci-Fi Party Line watching Friends. And I
Oh,
did
oh,
Sci-Fi
that's
Party Line
your
about
fault.
Friends.
That's your fault. Oh, okay.
um, Friends was great. So Debris kind of felt like it. I will save most of my opinions for the panel,
Right.
but I'm looking forward to talking about it with other. This is a cool thing about Dragon Con.
Mhm.
Talking about shows that you feel like you're the only person watching with other people who watch the same show.
Right.
That has always been the thing that I loved about when I go to Dragon Con or used to go to Dragon Con or go to Dragon Con. I know you like the big mega panels with all the stars.
Hmm.
I was going to the small fan panels
Yeah,
because
I like the fan panels too, but
I
yeah.
wanted to interact with people who watch the show with me.
Hmm.
So these people who watch Debris, this is going to be interesting
Yeah.
because they have a
Okay.
lot to say about that show.
Okay.
Like I said, I only made it up to about 8 or 9 episodes before stuff happened.
Hmm.
And when you come back to it, oh, it's not there anymore. I'll figure it out another time. And you realize that whoever was a production company basically pulled it from everywhere.
That seems to be happening a lot these days.
Yeah, they just pulled it from everywhere. It's not available anywhere ever. It's like, oh my god. So I'll try to find it to try to finish it up before when is this? Saturday at 1.
Ah, okay. So yeah,
I'll try
that's
to
it.
get in. I'll try.
Let's see. What do I have? Do I have anything Saturday at 1? Oh, actually I don't. What? But you know what? If I go look at my schedule right now, so there's so much overlap on my schedule right now.
Or you don't have panels overlapping though,
I
do
don't
you?
have my own panel at Saturday at 1, but let me tell you, Saturday at 1, oh wait, DragonCon, the app has updated. Oh, that's awesome. So my schedule Saturday at 1. Um, there are 4 panels that I have bookmarked. There is a Fear the Walking Dead panel because some 2 of the stars are here for that. There is an Agents of Shield panel because we have, I think, 3 stars from there. There is a Thor, Love, Death, and Goats panel that I may go to. And there is a the Wheel of Time panel. There's another, there's a live panel for that one, the Amazon series. So yeah, it's a lot. Like I showed a friend my schedule for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as far as the panels I've bookmarked as far as what I want to do. And that's what we do with the DragonCon app because yes, I have 4 panels bookmarked, but that could be because okay, you know what? Maybe I decided to go to lunch and now I find myself in this hotel and it's easier to
Mm-hmm.
get to this panel than it does to that or whatever the case may be, or I may
Or
get to a
sometimes they
panel and
say,
be
okay,
like,
well, the
they got too many
5:30
people.
panel is in the Sheraton, and then this other panel I want to go to is also in the Sheraton. So maybe I'll just go to that panel
And then
since I'll
yeah.
already be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like that. And I sent Charles, he's also one of the co-hosts on Sci-Fi Party Line. I sent him my schedule. He was like, when do you plan to eat? And I was like, I'll figure that out. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I mean, I I'll remember to eat. I just don't know when, but yeah, we'll figure that out. Yeah. Let's see. What do I have? I'm trying to think because you were talking about sci-fi fantasy. Let's see. I think okay, I did that one. Hmm. Oh, okay. So you have a panel Saturday at 5:30 that I cannot go to because I'm on the Umbrella Academy panel. We're gonna be
Oh,
talking, we're gonna be talking about season 3. I'm so excited. And I'm mad because I had to choose between that one and what was the other panel? I had to choose between Umbrella Academy season 3 and Stranger Things seasons 1 through 4 or seasons 1 through 3. I had to make a
oh,
choice.
you had to make
I
a
was
choice.
like, why do y'all do that to me? But if you look at the schedule, especially for the things that I watch, I'm just going to be conflicted wherever I go. Like literally the only conflicts I don't have on my schedule are the panels that I'm sitting on. Because
Hmm.
of course, if I'm on a panel, I can't go somewhere else. Everything
Right.
else, there's like 2 panels here, 3 panels here. I think one of them had 5 panels. I said I'm not even about to bookmark that fifth one because we just already know it's just crazy. It's crazy. It starts every year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I went through one, I forgot what time slot it was, but I bookmarked like 4 or 5 panels. And then I bookmarked the last panel and I was like, wait a second, that looks familiar. Oh, that's a panel that I'm on. So
so
I
you had
can't
to
go to
go.
any of them. I had to go back and uncheck them. It's like, oh,
These are the
okay.
times that we need clones. It will make it so much easier. It will make it so much easier. But yeah, so I'm doing Umbrella Academy. I'm doing a Miss Marvel panel that I'm
That's
excited about.
Mike is gonna be jealous of that.
He
Yeah.
is so jealous. So when I announced that I got onto the Outlander panel because somebody hurt themselves and she had to pull out, which is sad, but at the same time it's kind of like, oh wow, that opened up an opportunity. Okay. Mike was like, maybe something like that. He was like, no, I'm just joking. He was like, but that Miss Marvel panel, if they have an opening, I was like, see, Mike, you got to jump on this. But I think Mike also didn't realize that he was coming to Dragon Con all 5 days until after that particular track
Hmm.
had started taking calls for panelists. So I know he'll be there at least. But I think there are 2 different Miss Marvel panels happening this
Okay.
year. So I'm on
Okay.
that one. I'm also doing a panel called MCU Half Phased. So we're going to be talking about phase 4 up until this point, which will be fun for me because
That'll
I'm
be
one of the
fun.
few people who seem to not have so many complaints about phase 4.
Wait. When is that one?
That one is Sunday at 4.
Mm. Oh, I see. Sunday at 4.
Yep.
I don't think I have a conflict, so I'll
Ah,
be there.
yes, you should come to that one. So
Yeah,
you
I'll
can
be
hear
there.
me. So you can hear me defend Eternals to people and just talk in general about phase 4 up to I think it's up to this point. So we'll probably include some She-Hulk talk in it since we already have 2 episodes. Actually, She-Hulk, there should be another episode releasing in about 4 hours. So we'll have 3 episodes of She-Hulk by that time.
Hmm.
It's so funny looking at you going from tablet to phone,
Yeah,
trying
because
to make sure
I
you're.
have your schedule over here and my schedule over here. And I realized, yeah, that'll work out for me because my panel on Sunday is right after that one. I have a panel right after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
works. And then I'm doing a Discovery of Witches panel. So,
Ooh, that's
that's
good.
one of our original shows on the
Popular show.
podcast. We covered that show from the beginning, right? Yeah, we
Yeah,
covered that one from the
from the beginning.
beginning. So that show has a particular soft spot in my heart. I'm so happy that I get to talk about it because I have things to say and I have feelings still about that, especially that final season, because I feel like we should have gotten a little bit more.
Hmm.
I'm still waiting for them to announce a Marcus and Phoebe spinoff. So yeah, but
Lori would know more about that
she
because
probably would.
she's looking for it. She's
I don't
waiting
blame
for
her.
it.
I am too. You can't tease us
Okay.
like that and then just not do anything. So yeah, but yeah,
And
I'm looking forward to it. I'm like so excited. I have like so many cool panels that I'm on, and I'm like, this is stuff that we talk about already. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm happy.
Another panel I'm on is Night Sky to the Stars, Sunday at 7.
What is that?
There's a show on Amazon called Night Sky with J.K. Simmons and Sissy Spacek. Um, it's I Michelle and I watched it. It's
Okay.
an interesting show. It
Mm-hmm.
has some great performances. I have issues with some of the story.
Okay.
Um, it's actually, I think, written and created by Dennis Miller's son. You know, Dennis Miller,
Oh,
yeah, his
yeah.
son.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot his name. I know people are gonna be laughing at me, but I
You'll
just
know it.
watched
You'll know it
it, but I know
by the
that.
panel. Yeah.
Um, I actually I enjoyed the show. I have a lot of problems with it, and I don't know if they're gonna do a second season or not.
Hmm.
But I'm interested in it, so
But I mean,
we're
the
gonna talk
fact that
about
you
it.
have problems with the show, but you still enjoy it, that's that's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting. It's this old couple. After their son dies, he kills himself.
Uh-huh.
Um, they discover what they think is a bomb shelter in their yard,
Okay.
and is actually like a teleporter to another planet. So the show revolves around that discovery and the people hiding those teleporters
Okay.
because they're all over the world. And I don't
Okay.
want to give away too much about the show, but
Okay.
yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
You should give it after Dragon Con, give it a try.
Yeah,
But after this is
I'm
after
not watching
Dragon Con.
nothing else. I don't have time to
And
watch nothing else.
the last one I'm going to mention, I'm on a Raising Dion panel. I am the mind mover,
Okay. You mentioned
and
that
that is
earlier.
Saturday at 11:30. Raising Dion, that first season, it's a Michael B. Jordan production. It's a show that is near and dear to his heart. I think it's a wonderful concept. It's on Netflix. It's not a high budget show.
Okay.
Dion, the actor that plays him, is he's very interesting and very I don't want to use the word compelling.
Hmm.
Like like he was 10, I think, right? No, 8 in season 1. And like most 8-year olds, he's all over the place, right? He's all over the place. And then he's 10 in season 2, and he's still all over the place, like what you expect of a 10-year-old boy with superpowers.
Okay.
And you find out he basically creates his own superpowers. It is it is it is it doesn't have really anything to do with anything, but it's a wonderful show. I like it. The
Now I've
comic book
heard,
geek in me really likes the show.
okay, because I was gonna say I heard about this show when it first came out, and I heard a lot of like there were so many opposing opinions. I heard some people say it was a great show. I heard some people say the show sucked. I was like, how can you be on like two different spectrums talking about the same show? And I
It,
just and then I think it got
it's somewhere in the middle.
canceled.
No,
It didn't get canceled?
it didn't get canceled.
That might be another show I'm thinking of then.
It didn't get canceled.
Okay.
I want to say it was up in the air for a while,
Okay. Okay.
but
That might be what I'm thinking about.
with Michael B. Jordan behind it, it was going to get done.
Okay.
So because that was his project. So
Okay.
um, yeah, I can see why people would like it because, like I said, it's a lower budget
Mm-hmm.
TV show. Um, but it has some really good concepts, and you kind of have to look at it from the perspective of it's sort of targeted towards a younger audience anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're trying to make it targeted towards a younger audience. But Dion is 8 and 10 in season
Okay.
1 and 2, and
Right.
it revolves around him.
Okay.
You can't make an adult show with
That revolves around a child
right.
and not make it creepy.
He had
Yeah.
yeah, it had some weird moments
Okay.
with the adults, especially his mom being a single mom. But
Mhm.
you know, it is what it is. But I think it's a great show.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. So I'm looking forward to the panel. That's going to be an interesting panel because you are right. There are people on extremes.
Okay.
They either like it or they don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a lot of middle ground for that show.
Okay.
So.
All right.
And I don't think I was going to watch it until I found out that one of my daughter's classmates was in season 1.
Oh.
Well, before he came out, his
Oh,
mother was
that's right.
posting.
That's
Yeah, she was
right. I remember
posting
that. Yeah.
about him being on the show.
Okay. I
So,
do remember about that. Okay. Okay. So, all right. That's interesting. So, I think we talked about, did you mention all of your panels?
that was all of my panels.
That was all of them. Okay. So, I only have, let's see. I think I mentioned all of mine except for 2. So, on Friday at 2:30, I will be appearing on the digital media track for the first time. I'm going to be on a panel titled Awesome Women in Digital Media, Volume 1. This is going to be a 2-part panel because there's so many awesome women that they had for the panel. They were like, okay, so we're just going to have to split the panel in 2. So there's one part of the panel that's happening at 3:30, and then I think the other part of the panel, volume 2, is happening at 5:30. So I'll be on the 2:30 panel. I'm a little bit nervous about that one because yes, even though I am a podcaster, I'm in digital media, I'm still what I feel like is a newbie in that space, because you have people who are doing like TikTok and you've got people doing Discord. We just started our Discord and I'm still learning that, which is so funny because when I mentioned it to my son, Mike, I was like, yeah, so I may be creating a Discord. He turned around, he was like, did you just say Discord? I was like, hold up now. Hold up.
It's like when you sent the invitation, I was like, is she for real? Discord.
Yeah, we gotta go with the flow. We gotta go where the audience is, and the
Hey,
audience
I've been
is
using
on
Discord since the
Discord
beta,
and
girl.
Twitch,
So.
and yeah. So I was like, okay, so I guess we could do that. And you know what? It's actually been kind of fun. It's weird because it's a lot to keep up with, especially if you're following different servers. Like right now, I'm only following 3 other servers, and 2 of them are Dragon Con related. But it's a lot.
I think I have 20.
Oh my God.
I have to turn off my notifications for Discord.
I couldn't do it. And this is one of the reasons why I used to be a huge user of Twitter way back in the day. And then I had to stop because I would literally be sitting there all day long. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be working. I would literally be sitting there watching my Twitter feed and working just like this. And I was like, I can't do this. This is ridiculous. I can't do it. So I literally stopped doing anything on Twitter for like years. And I just started going back like right before we started the podcast. I was like, okay, let me tiptoe back on Twitter. But yeah, so, I'm excited to be on this panel. I'm also a little bit nervous because I feel like all of my other panelists have so much more experience, but I'm looking forward to hearing them and learning from them and picking things up, and just even the conversations that we've had in Discord, because the digital media track is one of the servers that I follow. And, we have different rooms for the panels. Everyone is so nice. Everyone is so supportive, giving out suggestions for, some people are like, okay, well, how can I make my show better? What kind of equipment should I be using? And this, and another. And people are so nice. So I'm really looking forward to being on this panel and just learning, trying to soak up as much knowledge from these people as I can to make myself better and to make the show better and just to have a better overall experience. So
you sound like I did when I was talking about the history of Black fantasy panel.
Touche.
I'm going to say you are an awesome woman in digital media and just an awesome person in general, because you have written for publications, blogged, you've interviewed celebrities, and all those. I remember when we did the Being Human interviews of those 3 actors. That was so much fun.
That was so much fun.
You are an awesome woman in digital media. You just are.
Okay, thank you. I will claim that. Thank you. I will claim that. Doggone it. I will claim it. So yes, I'm really looking forward to being on that panel. And then the last panel that I am on is a fanfic panel. And that one, is kind of sort of up in the air because that was one that I was not signed up for, but it showed up on my Dragon Con app as one of my panels. And that's the YA Lit track. And I usually do several panels for them anyway. So I just told her, I was like, hey, if you need somebody for this panel, it's fan fiction and it's Marauders. I'll be there.
You'll be there.
I'll be
We
there
all
because
want fan fiction from Marauders.
we
Who
all want
doesn't?
Marauders. I mean, well, yeah, at this point, we want fan fiction because we don't necessarily need a new story from She Who Must Not Be Named, but it's Marauders.
It's the Marauders.
It's the Marauders. Who wouldn't want? I was like, yeah, I'll go do that panel. Yeah, I'll do it. So that's gonna be fun. I haven't, and it's gonna be weird because I haven't dipped my toe in the fanfic world in years because that was another thing that once I got into it, I got sucked into it. I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours.
I'm trying to make sure I don't have a conflict for that panel because I want to go. I don't think so. That's Saturday at 7.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, because we want
I'll be there.
Marauders fanfic.
I have some ideas about some Marauders fanfic.
All right. Yes, we'll get to it.
I got some ideas.
Yeah.
Sirius and James getting into some serious trouble.
They're always getting into some serious trouble. Like, yeah. But so I think that's it for the panels, except like I said, I did pre-record a virtual panel for the Wheel of Time show. That one, I believe, is going to be streaming on DCTV the entire weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And for those of you who can't be at Dragon Con but want to partake, there is a streaming membership on the Dragon Con website. It's only $10. And I believe that even after the con is over, you will have access to all of the programming on that channel for the following year. So you'll have it all the way up until I think next year's Dragon Con. And you can't, for $10 is not bad because there's so much that's happening at Dragon Con at all times. Like we said, we talked about the schedule conflicts with us wanting to go to, them having 3-4 panels that we're interested in at the same time. So there's something for everyone at Dragon Con. But okay, so let's do this. Let's shift away from the panels. Again, I will post a link to a blog post that will have our schedules in full so that anyone who's interested in attending our panels or seeing our panels will have that information available. I will also do my best to record as many panels as I can so that we can post them on our YouTube channel so that you can watch them after Dragon Con has ended. But let's shift away from the panels and talk about these guests. Who are you excited to see this year? There's so many people, and we have had a few late cancellations of people that I wanted to see. My Frenchie from The Boys is not coming anymore, and I'm so sad.
So I learned long ago that I have to wait until I get there because I've been let down before, i.e., you and Frenchie, when someone was announced, and then you get there and you find out, oh, they canceled.
They had to cancel, yeah.
Yeah,
which is understandable because a lot of them, most of the times when they cancel, is because they are working and production schedules change, and they may be due on set or something got delayed, and they may have to stay on set. So we understand that, but it's still like,
I know.
My Frenchie isn't coming.
It's hard because I haven't had an opportunity to look over seeing who's coming. I think most of the people that come consistently I have already seen. I had thought Rachel Luttrell was coming back.
She is.
If she is, I may try to go see her because that was like the first celebrity I ever took a picture with, and got an autograph from.
As long as you've been going to Dragon Con, she was the first?
Picture with. Not picture of.
Okay.
So that
I'm trying to think who was,
because I've talked to plenty. I remember the time that I talked to Trace Lords, and I thought man, she's not nice in person.
We,
Uh,
there are
you
a
know,
couple of those, yes.
there are a couple of
Luckily,
those.
I haven't.
LeVar Burton was one of the first. He had came a
Ah,
long time ago, then didn't come again until way later.
okay.
Um, so I used to talk to a lot of them, but back then, when they have the Walk of Fame where they
Mhm.
all were, it was in the basement of the Marriott. You know, that lower
I
level. You
remember.
remember?
Hmm.
And they were down there, and you could walk through, and you could take pictures. You could talk
Hmm.
to them. It is not like that anymore. You can't take pictures of them. You can't really talk to them. I mean, you can,
Yeah.
but it's just not the same
Yeah.
as it
That's
was
how it
back
was.
then.
My first Dragon Con was in 2007. And of course, I knew nothing about the Walk of Fame or anything like that. So I'm in the Walk of Fame looking at people, talking to people. And I'm like, oh, I want to get some autographs. Well, I didn't realize that most of the time when you're in the Walk of Fame, you have to have cash. They don't do cards.
Mm-mm.
And this was a Friday afternoon. The ATM machine was already out of money. So I couldn't get any cash. So I was just walking around like talking to people. And there were a couple of people that we met that took pictures with us. It was me and my friend Arelis. They took pictures with us without us having to pay. They were just like really nice.
Yes.
Richard Hatch was one of the first people I ever met at a Dragon Con.
Mm-hmm.
So nice. Talked to us for like a full 10 minutes. And again, like you said, back then, even 2007, it wasn't as crowded as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they had people standing in line, they still had enough time to like really talk to people. He was one of the nicest people. Like he found out that was our first Dragon Con, and he was like, "Oh, okay. So what are you here to see, or who are you excited to see?" And we talked to him about stuff. I mean, we were dressed as Gryffindor and Slytherin students, so it was obvious we were there for Harry Potter. So he was talking about it. He was telling us just like different little things, like, "Oh yeah, so this will be your experience, and yeah, just go around and see people, and just talk to people." And blah. So nice,
Mm-hmm.
so nice. Aaron Douglas from Battlestar Galactica, same way, sat there, talked to us, shook our hands, had a conversation with us for about 5 minutes. He had other people that were there trying to see him, but he took time to talk to us and signed a autograph, and it was cool. And like I said, we were kind of like we didn't know how things in the Walk of Fame kind of worked,
Mm-hmm.
so we walk around the corner and Jamie Bamber is there. He's sitting at a table,
Mm-hmm.
and I go over and I speak to him, and I asked him for his autograph. And at that time I had the Dragon Con program book that they give you, and
Mm-hmm.
asked him to sign that. He had the most stank attitude and rolled his eyes and signed the book and like pushed it back to me, didn't say anything else. And I was like, okay, first bad experience. Okay, got it. I've never had another experience like that since Dragon Con. He literally has been my only bad experience. I don't
Oh
know if he was
wow.
in a bad mood that day. I don't know if he was mad because I wasn't paying. Like I said, I didn't know the in and outs. I've been here 15 minutes. I've
Yeah.
been at
This,
Dragon Con for 15 minutes.
yeah. It's like Tracy Lords. She was all smiles until you got up to her because she had a long line.
Mm-hmm.
She was all smiles until she realized you were not paying for an autograph
Mm-hmm.
and you can move on. She
Mm.
had to get to the people who were paying.
Right.
You know,
And you know what?
they did not understand.
I
I
understand that because you're
understand.
there working. That
Yes.
is how you're earning your money. I
Mhm.
understand that.
I
But
understand. But
still.
see, I didn't quite understand it then myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't get that that's really what they were there for.
Right.
You know, for me, I was starstruck. I was like, oh my God, that's Tracy Lords.
Mm-hmm.
So I get in line to wait to say, hey, nice to meet you. And oh, she's like, you're not buying an autograph? No, I just wanted to say, hey, yeah, you need to move because I got other people. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But there's some people who are like extremely nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll tell you this quick story. I think I told you this story. But I was talking to someone and I was walking along and I kept hearing Anthony, Anthony. And I turn around and Mark Singer is calling me. Anthony, come here real quick. why is Mark Senior calling my name? And I go over, and Mark Senior's like, yeah, I was talking to someone about you, and he just went on, and then all of a sudden my best friend Brandon comes around, and he played a practical joke. He had talked. He was like, "Were you here with someone?" And Brandon was like, "Yeah, I'm here with that guy over there." He's like, "What's his name?" Anthony. He watch this. He does it. Anthony, come here, Anthony. And the, so there's some of them who have fun with it, and I know you've encountered them that they like being there. They like being with the people. One other story. I have this thing where I'm getting all of the African American actors who are in Star Trek.
Yes.
And Anthony Montgomery, who was on Enterprise, was there. And the average autograph is usually, $20 at the time. It was like
Back
20
then.
back then. It was $20, $30 or whatever. And I was in his line to get his autograph because, this is what I collect. And his agent or handler or whatever was like, it's $40. And I only had $30. And when the agent turned their back, he goes, just give me the 30. So I gave him the 30 real quick before the handler turned around and I got my autograph.
Okay.
And the very same night, I was standing in line to go to a restaurant, and who's standing in front of me? Anthony Montgomery. He's like, hey, I remember you. I was like, I remember you too. And I told him when I was like, oh, cool. I'm glad you could get your autograph. Hey, you want to have dinner with me? Sure.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was like, okay. And one more, the last one, Tony Todd. Nice guy. I got an autograph of him, his Worf's brother. And before I left the table, we had a long conversation. Before I left the table, he was like, any place to get some good barbecue? I was like, I was kind of put on the spot. I couldn't think of any.
Right.
And he's like, you mean you from here and you're black and you don't know where I can get some good freaking barbecue? I'm tired of this stupid ass food in the hotel. I want some real barbecue and you don't know? And I'm saying like, no. It's like, man, get out of here. Just go. You don't know how it feels to have the candy man to tell you to leave his presence. So I left. He said, don't come back until you get me some barbecue. So I made a promise to myself, if I ever see Tony Todd again at DragonCon, I'm gonna take him some barbecue.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
For the one bad story I have a ton of great celebrity stories.
Yeah, there's so many. So you talked about like the ones who have fun with it. I have two very specific ones. So of course, like I said, 2007, that was my first Dragon Con. I went because Matthew Lewis and James and Oliver Phelps from the Harry Potter films were coming. That was the first time I can remember since I was a child hearing about Dragon Con. And I was like, how did I not know this is in my own backyard? But again, around that time was when I was just kind of getting back to being myself and embracing all of my geeky stuff that I got messed with, for so long as an adult. So I think it was not the next year, it may have been the year after that, Matthew Lewis comes back to Dragon Con. No, it may have been that year, the year afterwards. He comes back to Dragon Con. And of course, Dragon Con weekend is the weekend that I now consider like my annual vacation. So that's the that's the weekend I tell people I'm not mommy during this weekend. I am full on fangirl. Y'all stay with, at the time my kids were younger, be like, yeah, y'all hang with your dad, hang with your grandma. I'm going to go hang over here and do my thing. So I'm in the line to meet Matthew Lewis. I'm sorry, Matthew Lewis. We were talking about Matthew Smith the other day. Matthew Lewis, and we get to talking again. Really, really nice guy. For those of you who don't know, that's who played Neville Longbottom. So we get to talking, and really nice guy. And he asked me about how long have I been coming to Dragon Con? And I tell him, oh, this is only my second year. And somehow my kids are brought up, and I think he asked me something about I think Aurelis was with me and we mentioned something about kids. She was like, oh, the kids they would go nuts if they knew you were sitting here talking to them. And my kids at that time, they were still very young. I think my daughters were like maybe 11 and 13 or something like that. And I asked them, hey, I said, if I called my kids on the phone, would you just say hi to them just really, really quickly? And he was like, yeah, call them on the phone. So I called them on the phone, on my daughter's phone, and they're in the car at the grocery store. My mother-in-law has gone into the grocery store, and my son, who was really tiny at the time, he was in the car asleep. So they were like, okay, well, we'll stay in the car with him. We want to listen to music anyway. So they're in the car, they're listening to music. And I called them and I was like, hey, they're like, Mom, you're at Dragon Con. Why are you calling us? I was like, somebody wants to say hello to you. So he gets on the phone and he was like, hi, is this Michaela and Mia? And they're like, and of course he's saying this in his full British accent. And they're like, who is this? And he starts talking and then they recognize the voice. So I have them on speakerphone. All you hear is screaming. They are losing their minds. And then they calm down long enough to talk to him and he has a conversation with them. And he was like, well, hopefully one day you guys can come to Dragon Con and I'll be back and I get to meet you guys in person, blah, 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 blah. Sweetest thing. I had a similar situation happen a few years later with Jim Beaver from Supernatural, who plays Bobby Singer. Now, I had met Jim in person in 2008 at a different convention and got to spend a lot of time with him. This was a smaller convention. It was more intimate. So like literally he came to the kickoff party and sat and talked to a whole group of us for like 45 minutes, just talking about all kinds of things. And saw him over the course of the weekend. And when I went to go get my autograph from him and I told him my name, he automatically knew it was Japanese. And he was like, Japanese? I said, yes. He starts speaking to me in Japanese. Well, unfortunately, my mother did not teach me Japanese coming up. So I only know like a tiny bit of what he says. So we just have a conversation about that and stuff like that. So a few years after that, he's on set at Supernatural and he's in the makeup chair. He's got like an hour until he's supposed to hit the set. So he gets on Twitter and he was like, okay, so while I have some time, I know that I know a lot of you from conventions and stuff, but meeting somebody in person is different from seeing them online because, Twitter handles, whatever. He says, so how about this? While I have some time, tell me your name, tell me where I met you. So my response to him was, I'm the half black, half Asian girl or half Japanese girl that you met at Icon 2008. So he immediately tweets back, like literally 2 seconds later, he tweets back, Hanako Ricks, I remember you. Excuse me? This was 2 years ago.
Yeah, he remembered. Yeah.
He remembered. So then when he came to Dragon Con a few years later, this was the first year that I brought both of my daughters. At that time, they were like 13 and 11 or 14 and 12. They were somewhere around there, but old enough to where I felt like I could bring them and kind of let them explore the convention, and just have some fun. So we're sitting there and this was on a Sunday. My oldest daughter decided not to come on that Sunday because she was tired out from Saturday. It was kind of overwhelming for her. And they had a chance to meet Tom Felton on Saturday. So they were, recovering from that. So we're sitting in the room where all the Supernatural guests at that time were. And I think this was the first time they had ever had Supernatural guests at Dragon Con. And I just wanted to stop and say hello to him, while I was there. And so he comes into the room and there are 2 girls already standing at his line talking. And so my younger daughter and I, we're sitting in the back and we're just kind of sitting there chilling, waiting for him to be done with the other 2 ladies. So when it's our turn to come up, I go to him and I'm like, hey, Jim, I don't know if you remember me. He says, Hanako, if you don't get around this table and give me a hug, and my daughter is looking at me like, what the fuck? What? So I go around the table and I give Bobby Singer a hug. We start talking about his daughter. He tells me, glad to meet you. I know your mom has mentioned you, again, from a conversation he knew 4 years ago. Me talking about my kids. He was like, don't you have other kids? I said, yes, my son is a little too young to come to Dragon Con because I'm not doing babysitting duty. I want to go to all the panels I want to go to. I said, my daughter tired herself out yesterday, so she decided she was too tired to come. So Mia was like, we should call her and tell her that we're talking to Bobby. And Jim looks at me. He was like, do it, call her. So I call her, and
she did it in the Bobby Singer voice. Do it.
I mean, Bobby Singer tells you to do something. I was like, I'm not about to get called a midget in person. So I called my daughter. So she answers the phone and she's asleep. She's knocked out, but she answers the phone. She's like, hello. And I'm like, hey, somebody wants to talk to you. She immediately perks up because the last time I did that to her when I was at Dragon Con, Matthew Lewis was on the phone. So she perks up and she was like, who? I said, you'll see. So I give Jim the phone. He was like, hi, is this Michaela? And she was like, yeah, yes. He was like, hi, Michaela. This is a oh my. She loses her shit. He starts laughing. And then when she calms down, she was like, oh my God, I can't believe Bobby is calling me. And he was like, why am I talking to you on the phone instead of meeting you in person? And she was like, I went to Dragon Con yesterday. And it was my first time. And I did so much walking. I'm so tired and my body hurts so much. And it was just a lot. And he said, well, the next time I come here, I want to see you in person. She was like, yes, Bobby, I will do it. And of course, she said, Bobby, and then she was like, oh, I'm sorry, Jim. He was like, no, it's fine. So I get off the phone with her, wrap up with him, say goodbye to him. And I call her back. She was like, that was the best. Then she goes on social media. My mom is the best thing ever. I talked to Bobby Singer from Supernatural. So yeah, some of the stars they do have fun and they make it worth your while. Like I said, that was Jamie Bamber was the only bad experience I had. I do have a friend who had a very rude experience with why is my brain going blank?
We're tired. That's why.
Adama from Battlestar Galactica. James, they were almost. Yeah. She had a bad experience with him. I don't know if it was just because he was trying to go to dinner or he was in a bad mood, but
my first Dragon Con, Kung Fu, what was his name? David Carradine. We were
Wait, he came to Dragon Con?
This was 2001. So it was like 2000, like my first time.
Okay.
And we were trying to go to the Walk of Fame downstairs. I don't really know what was going on, but Brandon was behind me. And all of a sudden, someone literally almost knocks me down the escalator.
I think I remember this story.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the? And I turn and I see this dude in all black just walking away. And Brandon goes, that was David Carradine. I wouldn't say anything if I were you.
I agree. Yeah, you just kind of let that one slide.
Yeah, but I was almost murked by David Carradine. It was weird. It was, but yeah. But that wasn't a bad experience. That was just one of those things, like us stalking Alcee down the street.
Oh my God.
We won't talk about that.
Well, technically, hold on. I gotta let my cat out the room. Go.
Yeah.
So technically, we were
going to the same place.
We were going to the same
place.
We were going to the same place. I was in the photo op line for Joe Manganiello, and this was like at the height of True Blood, and I just really wanted to take a picture with him, and the line was so fucking long, and he had to leave to get to his panel, and I was like, well, we're going to the panel anyway, so we're literally walking down the street behind Alcee Hervo.
Like,
And I
can
had
we
my
take a
camera
picture?
on the whole
Take a picture.
time, just like,
Take a
oh my
picture,
God.
Hanukkah. Let's take a
Yeah,
picture.
Anthony was telling me, he was like, take a picture, take a picture. I was like, no, I'm scared. He was like, take the fucking picture. So I have a picture of him getting ready to cross the street. And anybody who looks at that picture, they're like, you were just taking a picture of his ass. I was like, he wasn't facing me. I just wanted proof that he was right there in my breathing space.
That was so much fun. That was so much fun.
It
Take
was.
the damn picture. Like, no, don't scare. Take the picture, Hanukkah. Take it.
We have had some good Dragon Con experiences. I'm
Yeah.
so ready for this week. When I say I'm so ready for this weekend because we have so much fun, even when we're not in panels, even when we're not doing stuff, like even just the times that like, so the group of friends that I go to Dragon Con with or that I hang out with Dragon Con, we've kind of established this little routine that we do. Like there's a certain spot in Peachtree Center that we always go to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain spot in the Marriott where we always come and sit. Like there are times when, even though I may have 50 million panels on my schedule, there may be days when, especially before the pandemic, when there was like 85,000 people strong, there would be days when you were just like so exhausted from trying to maneuver the crowds that you were just like, I just want to sit my ass down and not move for 2 hours and maybe charge my phone.
And charge your phone.
So we actually have a routine where we just go into the Marriott. There's like this little space that we go to and we just kind of sit there and we open up our snacks or we bring our food from Peachtree Center. We sit there and eat and we charge our phones and we recharge our bodies. And this is the space where you'll see all of the droids come and just hang out. So you'll see like two R2D2s, you'll see a BB-8, you'll see this, you'll see that. Just you'll see Wally from the movie Wally, just kind of going through. And this is where everybody comes and takes those pictures. This area it has a domed glass roof.
It's over where because the YA lit track was there.
Yep. It still is.
Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the droids for the Star Wars track.
Right. And so I think it's Sunday evening or maybe Saturday evening, you'll see the Elvish choir walking through the hotels and they come gather in that little spot there. And because of that dome, it echoes and it sounds so beautiful because they sit there and they sing for about 20 minutes. And it's so beautiful. So you get, even if you're not in the panels, just the different experiences you have just watching things happen around the convention or trying to chase down an awesome cosplay. I sprinted way across the hotel once. This was like 3 years ago because there was a group cosplaying the Joker and his crew from the Michael Keaton Batman. And you know, if you watch that movie, that Prince soundtrack is probably one of the best fucking soundtracks ever. So you've got this guy looking like Jack with the makeup, with the mouth. And you've got Lawrence with the boombox, and you've got the guys doing the dance. When I tell you, I saw that, I got up. I don't know where I found that because I was sitting on the floor and I didn't even want to get up to go to the bathroom 10 minutes ago, but I saw this cosplay. When I tell you, I got my ass right on up and I ran across the hotel to catch them. And they literally sat there and they reenacted the whole party man scene. I was just like, I'm done. I can go home happy now. I'm good. So yeah, the experiences at Dragon Con, you know, we call it like the big geek family reunion because that is really what it feels like. Yeah. There are friends that I have that I'm so close to, I only get to see them at Dragon Con because we live in different areas of the country. And it's just one of those things where it just really, like from the time I started going, the first day I walked in and I saw everybody there, I was like, I feel like I feel like I just came home. Like I've never been in a space like that before where I felt seen. where I felt embraced, where nobody was looking at me as, you know, I'm already different because I'm biracial, and then you like what they used to call white people stuff. Nobody had those kinds of ideas there. Like I would fangirl about something and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. They're like, no, it's cool. What? Oh,
What? Yeah.
oh, okay. Like I can really be this silly and this excited about this, and nobody's gonna look at me like, I need you to calm down. Oh, I'm
No, no,
good.
no. Not only that, but they will be excited with you for
Yes.
the same thing.
Yes.
And growing up, it's already tough being, a blurred,
Right. Yes.
the term blurred,
Mm-hmm.
to go to a place where you are like, you realize you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Even though y'all aren't talking and maybe y'all aren't going to the same panels or the same places, but you see each other.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I've noticed, and I've talked about this before, that when I first went, there wasn't a lot of us seen there.
Mm-hmm.
We may have been there, but you didn't see us.
Okay.
But now,
We all
22,
over the place.
2021, we all over the place. We cosplaying.
We have
It's
tracks
amazing.
dedicated to representation,
Yes,
diversity and speculative fiction. Um, you have the Black Geeks of Dragon Con group
yes. All
that
these
is
things,
amazing.
amazing. Yes.
So yeah, it's just
And for me, we always talk about, well, what do you look forward to? Who do you look forward to being there with? What do you look forward to going? I just look forward to being there,
mm-hmm.
you know. And before, I used to be excited for taking Michelle, and now she's like a veteran, you know.
Right, right. She's one
And
of us now.
yeah, and now I'm just looking forward to taking Bailey,
That's
and
great.
you know, I think this is going to be a good trip this week. I say trip because it's like a vacation.
It is.
It
It
is.
is. I mean, the other good thing about it is, I know there are people like we're part of the Dragon Con Facebook group. There are people who are traveling right now from overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody posted a photo of him on the ferry to try to get to the mainland so he can get to the airport so he can take his international flight here. We 15 minutes down the street, literally.
Literally.
Takes us 15 minutes to get to downtown from where we live because Anthony and I live around the corner from each other, basically. It's right here in our backyards. So I love that even more because I don't have to worry about a hotel room. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to worry about fighting for all of that stuff because you know what? When I'm ready to go home and get in the bed, I can get in my car and I can go home and I can sleep in the comfort of my own bed. I don't have to worry about hotel noise or nothing like that. So for me, it's kind of like a win-win. Like, yeah, I can be a Dragon Con and I still have the comforts of home too. If I don't want to spend money to eat, I can cook at home before I go or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, which of course that doesn't happen because it's Dragon Con. You see friends you haven't seen in a while. You're like, hey, let's go spend $60 on a dinner that I otherwise would never even think about eating. But it's the experience.
It's the
It's so much
experience.
fun. It's so much fun. And I get to share it with you and Michelle and some of my best friends. We became best friends because we bonded through nerd stuff and Harry Potter and Dragon Con. Like we started going to Dragon Con around the same time, or I brought someone with me to Dragon Con and now they're a regular. It's those experiences that make me so excited about this weekend. And the other thing too is I love it because everyone at my job now knows that I always take Labor Day weekend off and they know why I take it off. And it's so funny because my boss used to tease me about it, but now she expects it. And it's funny, we changed to a new system a few years ago to where we had to enter our time into this computer system. And usually our fiscal year, we work for a school system, so our fiscal year starts July 1. So I always put in my time as soon as we come back from the 4th of July break. And I thought I put my time in this one year. I think this was 2019. And apparently it didn't go through. So like 3 weeks before Dragon Con, I get a call on my office phone from my boss. She was like, are you not going to Dragon Con this year? I said, yeah, I'm going. She was like, you didn't put your time in. I said, yes, I did. I put it in. She was like, well, it's not in there. She said, I'm going through like, where's Hanukkah's time for Dragon? Which was so funny to me because, like I said, she used to tease me about how much of a nerd I am. And now it's just a passing, like everybody in the office is a nerd now. So she doesn't even,
Yeah.
she's like, oh, yeah, I already know you're going to be gone to Dragon Con. Just make sure you have this done and this done and this done before you go. And it's cool. My coworkers all this week, they've been, how many more days? 4 days, 3 days, 2 days. You got 2 hours. You
Yeah.
ready? 2 hours. You got half an hour. Get out of here on time because I'm done for the week. I don't go back to work till Tuesday. So everybody's like,
it's not quite like that to that level where I am, but they know like I go around home. I'm not going to be here September 2nd. I'm not going to be here that Friday. They're like, oh, you're going to Dragon Con.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they are aware
Mm-hmm.
that and we have some big things happening this Friday, but unfortunately, I won't be there.
Priorities.
Priorities. Because we're having club day. We have had club day in 2 years, 3 years, and everyone's excited about club day. That's when all the clubs in the school, we have a big thing. All the different clubs set up booths and performances and all this stuff throughout the school. And my
Are you
daughter's
going
like
to be participating in kind of sort of a club day type thing
downtown?
right.
So, and Bailey's gonna go to it, and she's gonna be like, "You didn't tell me it was gonna be all this." So we'll I'm not there, so they'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
They'll be all right.
The school will still be standing next week when you get
It'll be there when I get back on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Maybe, depending on if I go Monday and how tired I am, we'll see.
See, that's the one thing. I've not done a Monday at Dragon Con yet. I had planned to the first year. And let me tell you, back then I was in shape. But that Monday morning, when I tried to get my ass out the bed, my feet said, no, bitch, no. I stepped out the bed and collapsed to the floor. I said, okay, I don't think I'm going anywhere today.
When I started doing the 4 days or 5 days, and Monday morning is always, I'll see how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And the older I get, the more I see the less I see how I feel. I just don't.
Yeah. I thought about doing it last year, and then I was like, no, I can't do it. Last year, what I did instead, I went to the spa. I got a massage and a full body scrub. And then I picked up my best friend and another friend of ours. I picked them up from the hotel and we went and had dinner before I dropped them off at the airport.
I always plan to go on the Monday. I just don't make it. The last time I went, Kevin Sorbo had a panel that afternoon, and I was sitting there like, I could have stayed home in bed. I really could have. And before that, Denise Crosby was supposed to be on the panel. She was Tasha Yar Star Trek on a Monday, and she was sitting up there. You could tell she did not want to be there. And she basically was like, the only reason I'm here is my flight got delayed. It's like, okay. So
yeah, because I think even by then, especially if they've been paneling all weekend, they've been meeting people all weekend, they've probably been doing their own partying, amongst themselves or their co-stars, because a lot of times with a lot of the media guests, you get them in groups. So just like we have several people coming from The Walking Dead this year and Fear the Walking Dead. You got people from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You got people from Lock and Key. You got a whole bunch of Star Trek people this year. You've got a couple of people from, just all different types of shows. So, they're probably they're probably tired too, just like we are. And we're not the ones that are like purposefully meeting hundreds or thousands of people and having to smile for them and talk to them and sign autographs and take pictures. people are like, that's their only job. They're complaining. It takes a lot of energy and effort to be on for people for that long a time. I can imagine it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm. So Monday comes around, everybody's done.
Everybody's done.
And that's why a lot of them, their flights are heading out on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Monday morning into Monday afternoon, they're gone. And I have nothing against that. More power to them.
Right.
They have lives too. They have families they got to get back to.
Mm-hmm.
And they are tired.
Yep.
They are.
Push come to shove, I may Uber on Monday. I may drive downtown to Uber and catch some of these people trying to go to the airport.
No, you're not. you're gonna be like me. You're gonna keep your happy ass in bed
and rest because I gotta go to work the next
morning. Go to work on Tuesday. That's right.
You might be right. You might be right. Oh, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to we were talking about guests. I'm really wanting to meet Lenny James.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's Morgan in The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, and just because he's been in like so many things that I've seen over the years.
He's Lord Shax in Destiny. That would be the only reason I go see him.
Oh yeah, because he voices video games too. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody. Let's just put it like that. There's so many, especially there's so many people that are coming that I'm excited to go to these panels. We got people from Supernatural coming this year. We got people from The Boys coming this year, even though Frenchie's not, but it's okay. I met him last year though, so that was cool. I did get to meet him last year when he was there, got to talk to him, told him about the podcast and how The Boys was the very first show that we started covering on the podcast. He was like, oh, that's so cool. I was like, yay, the Frenchie says I'm cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. 2 more days, or technically speaking, it's not after midnight. 1 more day.
Oh my God. I still have so much stuff.
We still have so much prep to do. So with that, we're going to get off of here so we can go finish watching and doing so we can be well prepared for our panels this weekend. But like I said, we will post this. I will post links to our schedules and all of the information for Dragon Con that will be there. If you are there and you are a listener of the podcast and you happen to see us or come to one of our panels, please come up, say hello to us. Let us know that you're there so we can shout you out and just, show appreciation for the love and support that you've given us on the podcast. But hopefully we get to see you this weekend. Anthony, I know I'll see you at some point. Look, at least I'll see you when we carpool. I don't know about any panel times. I'm sure we'll get a chance to support each other at some point during the weekend.
We have to fight over Mike.
We may have to fight. I don't know. I think I'm gonna get Mike because I got the MCUs. Like I said, I have everything that we talk about on the podcast. I got a Discovery of Witches. I have Miss Marvel. Well, we haven't discussed that yet, but we're planning to. I got MCU's Phase 4. I got Umbrella. I got all the good stuff.
You can have Mike. I don't care. Take him. Take him.
No, we can share. We're gonna tell him that we're fighting over custody of him for Dragon Con weekend. So we'll do that. So all the information will be posted on the website. But for now, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. We are on Discord now. You can find us at Fandom Hybrid Podcast. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel and listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.